Alright, so for the recipe of the ghee roast chicken, I've got about 10 cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of peppercorns, 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, about 2 teaspoons of coriander powder, 1 teaspoon, 1.5 teaspoons of cumin powder, about 10 dry red chilies, about 3 cloves of curry leaves. For the chili and the peppercorns, if you can't take too much spice, you can just adjust it to something lesser. Cut it down to half, and then you can increase it gradually. And I've also got some tamarind pulp. Just kind of mix tamarind pulp in a bit of hot water and just remove the seeds from there. And I've also got about 1.5 kilos of chicken. So that's a mixture of drumsticks and the whole chicken thigh. All right, and let's get started. All right, so what you're gonna do in a hot pan, just put in your dry red chili. You don't want it to be too hot. Put in your dry red chili. Put in your peppercorn and your garlic, and just let it toast for a while. Okay. Um, and you also want to put in your fenugreek seeds as well. I wouldn't want to put in the powder as it will tend to burn. Once you put that in, just kind of stir that around, and once it's kind of browned up, when you want to put that in the blender. The aroma from the chili, the peppercorns, fenugreek, and the garlic are really coming out right now. So that's good. That's what you want. All right. At this stage, I'm quite happy with the brownness and the aroma which is coming out from the spices. So it'll take about 2 to 3 minutes on kind of medium flame. You just kind of want it to release the aroma. So what I'm going to do is switch off the fire and kind of take it all out into a bowl, which I'll then let it rest for a few minutes before adding it to the blender. Um, so what I want to do when I blend it is to first blend the series of spices. Once once this is done, I'll then add in the powders, which is the coriander powder and the cumin powder. And once that's done, it's when I add in the turmeric pulp. So, all right, I've blended all of these spices, and it's come into a nice paste over here. So that's kind of what you want it to be in a nice fine paste. Sorry if it's not too clear. Yeah. Okay. So now in the pan, I've got it heated up. You want to add a couple teaspoons of ghee, which is why it's called ghee roast chicken. I typically like to add the ghee a little bit at a time. So I'll just add maybe 1.5 teaspoons of ghee at this stage. Okay. once the pan is heated up, what you want to do is to add in the chicken a piece at a time. So maybe we'll want to reduce this fire to a low before we add it, because it will start to splatter. So you can see it's starting to splatter. So don't add all of the chicken all together. Just dump it in. So what I want to do is, that's what I was kind of avoiding, the excessive splatter. And also know what you want to do is try to take out as much of the curd from the marinade as possible. Okay. Okay. Yep. So I've got some of the marinade which is left in the bowl here. You just want to keep it and use that for later. So at this stage is when you can increase the fire, and obviously you need to wash your hands after handling any meat. And at this stage, just cover it and leave it for about 4 to 5 minutes. And you might want to just flip it in the middle. What I'm trying to get right here is for a nice kind of a brown coating on the outside. I'll take it out and then I'll add in the masalas and continue with the mixtures from there. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes and I'm pretty happy with the sear on the chicken right now. So what I'm going to do right now is just to switch off the fire and take out the chicken. I think I started mentioning in the earlier part of this video that what I've done to marinate the chicken is I've added about 1/4 cup of yogurt and about 2 teaspoons of turmeric powder. And I left it overnight in the fridge. And you don't want to add too much yogurt. You just want to add a little bit of yogurt because that acts as a tenderizer. Okay. Once all of the chicken is out, I'll switch the flame back on and add the masala spice mix which I've blended earlier. Okay, that's all good. Okay, now the fire is back on. Just add the masala spice paste. Then you want to cook this for a good 4 to 5 minutes too, but cook this on medium fire. I think I switched it on to a high. I'm going to quickly reduce that to medium fire. You want that to slowly cook. You could add a little ghee to this too, but I'll generally like to just add a little at a time. So, and at this stage, just add a little bit of salt. Add as little or as much salt as your health permits. What I meant is don't go 2-3 tablespoons of salt. Of course, that's really bad for your health. Just start with maybe a teaspoon of salt. And as we get further down in this video, you can just taste it and then add the amount of salt accordingly. So I think I'm just going to add 1/2 teaspoon of ghee at this stage. should do it. Okay. Alright, so it's been a good couple of minutes now, and the spice makes it all nice and cooked. So at this stage, I want to add the balance liquid from the chicken over here. As I mentioned earlier, this is when I add it. So once it's added, give it a nice good stir. That's the kind of color which you are kind of looking for. That's the color which you really want. Okay. Okay, once this is done, it's not really done yet. So at this stage, I want to add a bit of, just a little bit of sugar. For me, I like to use a bit of palm sugar, but you can use any sugar you want. You can use white sugar, you can use molasses, basically anything which works for you. So just add a little bit, about a teaspoon and a half. Okay, not too much. You might be wondering why am I adding sugar. So that kind of balances the spice, the sour content. You will not taste the sweetness in this dish. It just kind of balances it out. So once this is done, what you want to do is to add the chicken back to this dish. So maybe want to lower the fire a little bit more. Not too low though. Alright, before adding the chicken, let's have a slight taste of the masala spice and let's see how it is. Yep, it's nice and good. It's not too spicy. Yep, it's very fragrant. If at this stage you find it too spicy, you can add just maybe a little bit more sugar. You can add nutmeg powder, which I find really helps to balance off the spice level. So you want to add the chicken a little bit at a time, not all of them at once, and then kind of coat the chicken. So put the balanced chicken aside first, kind of coat it with the spice mixture. Okay. Now is when you can add the balanced chicken. I feel we might want to add a little bit of water to that, or maybe not. Let's see. So there's some of the liquid, which is basically from the when I was cooking the chicken up. Okay. So once you've added the chicken, you can increase the fire slightly higher, and this is when you want to just add a little bit more water to this. and give it a gentle mix up. You don't want to break the chicken at this stage. So give it slow, gentle mix. Maybe let's use the help of a spoon at the same time. Okay, let it kind of coat the chicken nicely. Okay, almost well coated. Okay. Another reason why I actually seared the chicken first before I added the masalas is actually I find that when I do sear the chicken, it kind of holds it better, especially when you're doing stuff which are slow and long cooked, and especially when you're cooking it in the biryani, or any long stews basically, or curries. I like to sear it first, um, as I find it absorbs the flavor and it kind of holds it intact. Okay, so it's all good. What I'll do now is kind of just add a couple stalks of curry leaf. Just, okay. Yep, added about 3 stalks of curry leaf and reduce the fire just a little. Bring it back to medium. And right now what I want to do is actually to just cover this and let it cook for about 15 minutes, and your ghee roast chicken is all good. Right, so I've been simmering for about 10-15 minutes now. Just give it one last stir. Basically, it's all done. So at this stage, you just want to have one final taste, like what I always do, to see if it's the salt or basically the flavor of it. Does it seem good? Do you think it needs more salt, more chili, or if it's too spicy, you could do something about it. Okay, so you just want to take a small little piece, something like that, and taste it. It's very nice and tender. Love the amount of spice. It's not overpowering, and it's not too mild. Again, if I was cooking it for myself, I would put probably more chili, but I'm cooking it for some guests, so I gotta cut down the amount of chili over here. Um, so one final stir. Toss the masala up on the chicken pieces, and it's all done. So this goes perfectly with rice or with bread. I actually really love it with bread. But for this time around, I'm going to transform them into a biryani. So I'm going to call it ghee roast chicken biryani. So stay tuned for the next video of how I'll use this in a biryani mix.